All right, going here. All right, so 3, 2, 1. I hit the blue button. It says it's going live. It says and we're live.
Are you sure?
I think we are. 1 second.
Oh God, I hope they can hear us.
I think we're good.
Yeah, looks like it.
Oh, fucking hell. Whew, okay. Can everybody in the live chat hear us?
We get it?
We're good? Yes, no echo. Okay, I think we fucking did it. Holy shit. Oh, I cannot tell you. I'm behind the scenes and I'm looking at this thing and I'm not familiar with everything and I'm like, oh, I'm freaking out. Haha, Chris Durham, you're very, very funny. And I'm fucking freaking out because I'm like, what the shit? I don't know what I'm fucking doing. And I'm panicking because I can hear all them and they can't hear me. And so oh, so fucked up. I was losing my damn mind. I really, really was. Oh, well, fuck it, man. Let's get started. Welcome back, horror fans. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and that means it's another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast where we all go a little mad sometimes. We are coming to you live from our YouTube channel, so for all of you podcast listeners who are going to be listening to this come Sunday, be sure to check us out so you too can be a part of our live audience. This week, we are covering select horror films released in horror history, March 21st through March 27th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am JL, and with me today are Alex, and freshly back from secret film endeavors, Eugene.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
God, we missed you. We missed you, Eugene.
We did miss you, Eugene.
I know. I popped in for a little bit just to see how y'all were doing. And that's when I saw like the new background. I was like, oh, y'all got the movies? I'm gone for 1 week. And y'all got super fancy and everything.
Yes, I love the, we have to thank Kevin Paul. Kevin Paul is the one who came up with the idea of having the movie posters up on the screen. And he actually cut the background for us and laid it out. It was really, really badass. He was like, here, because he was like, hey, I got something I want to show you. He did this without being asked. He was like, hey, I've been working on something. And he was like, I want to show it to you. I was like, okay, cool, let me see it. And then he dropped this in Discord. I was like, holy shit. This is amazing.
I'll take 2, please.
Oh, and I want to give a huge, giant shout out to Johnny O for he is currently on the road, snowing where he's driving, and he took the moment to call me, or he's just like, call me. I've got your solution. So I called him up, and he helped walk me through this, so I didn't panic and like just run out of the fucking house. Just I was fucking freaking out, man. I was so freaking scared. I'm like, we're fucking 20 minutes over. God damn it! People are gonna think Team Skeptic is running this shit.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yes, Kevin is awesome. Oh man. So let's take a look before we get started. Let's take a look at who is in the chat. Basic Trigonometry. So good to see you. One of our amazing patrons. Love you, dude. Dark Steve. Love you too, man. Good to see you. Grave Paradise, who I have been chatting with in the Discord community. Grave's mother recently underwent some pretty major surgery, and she is currently recuperating well. So she pulled through, and Grave is joining us as her mom recuperates. We wish her mom all the best. So in a speedy recovery. So good to see you here. Let's see who else we got. Ricky Bell is in the house. And Anna, another one of our illustrious patrons who helps to make this show possible. Love you guys. And the plot hole, lurking from the road. Be safe going into Colorado, man. NA, good to see you. And the George said, you guys are freaking awesome. So glad you hung around while I was sorting out my shit. And who else we got? Chris Durham Music Channel. And he says, I'm in Connecticut. At my age, I'm severely haunted. No ghosts here. No ghosts here yet. Who else is in the house? PhD Tony. Hello, good to see you. Thank you, sir. One of the fellow beardsmen. And another one of our amazing patrons. And I think, because it's a little bit early, we're a little bit early, so other people will jump in. Charlie Welch, the man you never make a bet with. There's the man himself. So good to see you. Eugene, what the fuck are you doing in the chat? Sorry.
Gotta represent.
And there's Jessica G, our stream queen, when she gets her internet back up and solid. Can't wait to see what she brings to the theater. And she says, "What up, losers?" Yes, well, not the stream for about 20 minutes there.
Yeah, she's already throwing shade. Did he also drop Alex's camera? Is that why it's recording with the blur set to ultra?
No, actually, we look okay. From the monitor here, we look clear as fuck. So I think we're in good shape.
I mean, I definitely look a lot better in OBS than on the actual stream, but that's just because, you know.
Well, you always look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you don't leave the horror girls, thirsty like Eugene does, but yeah.
Dude, I could never match Eugene's sex.
I was like, somebody has to be the sex symbol, though. I'm the only single one.
I've got a job interview tomorrow for a facilities coordinator position, and I'm gonna have to shave the beard and cut the hair.
Oh, damn!
So
we're not gonna recognize you anymore.
I know I'm gonna look totally different.
Who's this motherfucker?
Who's this guy?
Oh well, Jessica G, so great to have you. Thank you so much for coming. It wouldn't be a normal show without you. What is PhD?
You know, it's kind of weird, JL. Jessica G and Eugene both disappeared from last week's stream.
This is true.
What were they doing?
She knew I wouldn't be on, so she was just like, watch this one.
Jessica G's going to steal Eugene away from us. What did PhD Tony say here? No, we wouldn't have made that mistake. Team Skeptic started on time today, but I thought I will skip this to go watch Week in Horror, and I was richly rewarded for that decision. Tony, I'm doing my fucking best, man. I'm doing my best. I'm baby stepping. I'm doing the work. I'm not a slacker. There's a little what about Bob there for you. Peach Tony says, Jesus, you mean Alex's camera is not broken? Wow, it would have been a lot less harsh if I had known.
Is it really that bad? It looks good on my computer.
Hang on a second. It's not that bad.
I'm watching the stream. It looks fine to me.
Yeah.
I also live a life of complete delusion, so...
Let me see this stuff. I just pulled up the stream on my phone, and Alex, you look fine.
Oh, thank you.
I do you. I'm gonna let myself out.
I'd even stay for breakfast.
I hope you're cooking.
Oh. Green Great Paradise says it's not good. I'm looking at you. Look, I'm looking at you clean. Like here on the all three of you look good. Oh, all three of you? No, there's only two. All three of us look good. We all look good. That's on my phone.
I don't know.
I'm like, everybody looks fine on mine. I don't know.
Basic trigonometry. I'll get my coat. You look okay if 720p is the new 140p.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, at least it's not me this time because they gave me shit for becoming in like 180 BC. Last time we were doing this, my camera was apparently shit.
I got my new 1 megapixel camera.
Oh,
it records 2 frames per second.
Jessica G says you shaving is unacceptable, highly unacceptable. Alex, you will not be cutting the hair or the beard.
Oh no, I don't know. See, I don't know professionally. I don't know if I could do anything with my hair to make it look like, we should hire this guy.
It shouldn't be. I don't see why there'd be a problem. There shouldn't be a problem with fucking hair. Like, PhD Tony says, okay, well, if I have to explain, the joke is Alex is butt ugly and looks out of focus. To all three of you, how do you claim to be entertainers?
Wow.
Okay, I'll clue you into a little inside information. PhD Tony hangs out with Jessica G like a lot.
Okay.
Like way too much. And she is rubbing off on him. And he's picking up all her snark and just internet cruelty. And he is, I mean, I can tell you from the time we met PhD Tony to now, that the edge on his snark has been honed to a formidable, weapon, and he's indiscriminate with how he uses that shit.
Here, does this help, PhD? That... Oh, I broke it. Sorry, I can't cover it
up. Yes, Dark Steve. PhD Tony does deliver brutalities. Fucking crazy.
Grave Paradise, don't wear a hat. Yeah, thanks.
Man, oh man.
The only reason I wear it every week is because Jessica G yelled at me when I didn't. So.
And you don't want to get yelled at by Jessica G.
That's true. She's scary.
Well, I do hope everyone in the chat, thank you all so much for joining us. I do hope everyone is doing well. Looks like the plot hole is about to lose service. He's going into Clayton, New Mexico. So
what the fuck? Did he lose a bet?
No, he's driving up to Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
they says
know that they just had like 52 inches of snow.
Oh yeah, he said it was snowing up there. And they says, what? Yeah, Jessica G is a saint. Saint something.
You spelled Satan wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
You spelled Satan wrong. That's not how you spell Satan. And Basic Trigonometry says, it's okay. Jess and I will tear him down on Saturday night. You do that. You do that, Basic Trigonometry, sexiest name on the internet. You tear that motherfucker down. And Peachy Tony says, another astonishing display of Week in Horror technical competence. Alex, well done.
I see now. I don't know if that's a fucking diss or what. No,
damn,
I'm
fucking
lost,
just PhD Tony. PhD Tony is relentless. And I don't even know. I don't even know if it's PhD Tony anymore. I think it's Jessica G on both accounts.
Probably is.
I think it's her controlling both. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know what? There was only
Charlie Welch. Good luck on that. That's.
Oh.
If you're having issues with it, seriously, your life will be changed for the better afterwards.
Dang, gallbladder remover, dude. Charlie Welch, all the best, man. Hope yeah, definitely.
Luckily, they've gotten really good at the non-invasive way to take those out. So.
Well, Basic Trigonometry posits that I think Tony's increase in snark comes from a lack of lotion in the bowl.
Jesus.
Oh, I see what. Oh, I see what Charlie Welch said right there, because he was like, NA was like, Jessica G is a saint, and Charlie Welch was like, Saints Row, baby.
Listen, when we do our first out in the world live show, y'all better be fucking front row, giving us the same shit you're giving us over the live chat.
Yeah,
definitely. All right. Well, there's not much going on. I mean, there was not many big things going on in the realm of horror as of late. So we didn't really have much to talk about in this past week. But that's okay. We started a little bit later than usual. So fuck it, Alex. You got our first movie. Right? So, why don't you kick this bitch?
Shit, that's right. We're doing a podcast.
Why don't you kick this bitch off? What do we have up first?
All right. We're going to talk about one of my particular favorite go-to movies, Shudder. Shudder came out March 21st, 2008. And I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this director's name real quick. Masayuki Ochai.
Close enough. It's close enough.
Written by Luke Dawson, starring Joshua Jackson, Rachel Taylor, Megumi Okina, David Denman, John Hesley, Maya Hazen. This movie was super creepy. Even back in 2008, I remember watching this. This was it was about a newlywed couple going on a honeymoon, and they decided to make it like a working honeymoon. And they're driving. They end up hitting a woman, and they can't find her body. And things start to get weird. Things start showing up in pictures that they're taking, and the ending was excellent.
It really was. It had a good creepiness to it. I've always been a fan of kind of like horrors. I do love a good jump scare. And the thing is I really enjoyed it. It had a nice kind of creep factor to it. There's something about photographs, and I like to go searching for haunted photographs or ghosts in photographs. And I'm pretty sure they share it up. And whether you believe in ghosts or not, some of the pictures are really pretty creepy. But this is actually a remake of a 2004 film under the same name, Shudder,
Which was also creepy.
which is also just as creepy. And it kind of came in on the tail end of the J-horror remakes, because you started getting with The Ring and The Grudge, based off of like these Japanese films, and all of a sudden they like popped up and like exploded. And so now it's J-horror constantly. And as quickly as the trend went up, it just began to backslide, like right back down. It went up. It was almost like the market was saturated, and then it ended up dropping off. But one of the things that we were talking about, when we're getting ready for the podcast, is when it comes to films, a lot of times studio producers, they get pitches all the time. And what they do is they'll actually keep pitches of upcoming genres just to see if something pops off. So this was something that somebody probably pitched to the studio a couple of years earlier, and they're like, we'll call you. We don't really know. And then all of a sudden, The Ring and The Grudge go off, and they're like, the executives are like, okay, well, producers, what do you got? Oh, well, this guy came in last year and pitched this thing called Shudder. That's also a remake. Cool, green light it.
Yeah, I think this one was based off. I think this one was based off a Thai film, because once the major Japanese franchises had been tapped, that they started looking pretty much all pretty much are all around Asia, Indonesia, India, Thailand, especially Korean films as well. And I think this one was originally called Shutter Pressed to Capture Ghosts. was the actual name of the Thai film. And so they definitely brought it over, adapted it. And you're right, Eugene, it was coming on the back, on kind of like the backside of the Asian horror adaptation trend. It spiked really quick, I think, because meta horror came right before this. So meta horror was running and just had a good little run, and it just kind of it was kind of waves. This one, it just jumped with the success of The Grudge. When that sucker hit, it was like everybody wanted to jump on that ship. And so then we got The Ring, and then we got Dark Water, and then there's so many. And this one, I think, was on the back end. I think I liked, there were moments in the film I really dug, but I don't think this one held up as much as like the earlier entries. Obviously, The Grudge, The Ring are the kind of juggernauts of the Asian horror remake trend. It felt very forced. Personally, like we got to do this quick, so let's grab some actors. And so we'll grab Dawson Creek's Joshua Jackson. We'll grab Rachel Taylor. I don't even know what she was in at the time. I mean, she's in the Marvel. She's in the Marvel universe now. She was on Jessica Jones, but I think she was basically just doing TV and TV movies. So we'll grab some actors real quick, throw them in there, and then boom. The cinematography was decent. The crew behind it, I thought, captured some elements. There were a couple of good jump scares in there, but overall, you could feel like you were on the back end of the slide. It's like this is the direction we're going, and pretty soon it's just going to be the obscure one that we can just grab and remake for quick pennies, just to try and recoup some budget.
Right. And I mean, like, when you get to stuff like, how do you even compete with stuff like The Ring or The Grudge? Like,
yeah, typically the ones that get there first are the ones that knock it out of the park. Just because there's plenty. They've had plenty of time to plan. So if you say we're going to adapt The Grudge, or Ju-on, we're going to adapt Ju-on, or we're going to adapt Ringu. It's kind of like, what do we do? So let's line up a solid director. Let's really, because we want to see if we can turn it into a franchise, because America's all about fucking franchises. So we want to see if we can turn this into something that really, really lasts. So can we do let's do The Grudge. Making sure we have a solid director, a solid lead actress. Make sure we really, really capture the elements of the Japanese film that really terrify people. So make sure that the kid is in there, the kid making cat sounds. Make sure the chick with the broken neck is in there. Really, really capture these moments. And you see, if you line the two up, there's differences, but they pretty much captured a lot of almost shot-for-shot stuff from the original Ju-on. And then that's what sells. That's what was great. And then, with the kind of American, I would say, gloss on it. There's kind of an American gloss to it. I've never found another term for that. Eugene, is there a term for that?
I don't know official term, but usually it's higher production value.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah, because when you're
losing Eugene.
Oh man, I hope we didn't lose Eugene.
like, I like to compare it to like say Bullet Time, The Matrix, where the first time you see The Matrix, it's like, oh man, impressive, do that. But then people started copying Bullet Time, like in Swordfish and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, okay, that's cool, it's well done, all right, but you're not going to get that awe factor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the people
I think we caught that.
Yeah, I think your internet's kind of like, do I want to do it or not? But we'll keep going. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, Kevin Paul has joined us. Thank you, sir, and thank you very much for this beautiful layout that we have here on the screen now. You are the man who brought us that, so thank you so much. Dark Steve was saying The Ring and The Grudge didn't age well, though. They were brilliant, but just not watchable for me these days. And it's true, they really didn't. I mean, because it was like he was saying with The Matrix. You know, when you see Bullet Time for the first time, you're like, holy shit! And now, what was that, 1999? Now it's 2021. Bullet Time's kind of like, by the time it hits a scary movie, or I think, what was it? I think it was used in like Kung Pao Enter the Fist, when the cow was shooting milk out of its udders, and it was like, okay, now it's pretty much run the gamut.
Yeah, they use it in a lot of spoofs now.
So it
was groundbreaking at the time. That's the thing.
Yeah, at the time. Okay, I can tell you at the time when I saw the Grudge in theaters, it scared the fucking shit out of me. And that was another big thing, is I think that this had a very, very limited release, and then went straight to
VHS,
and then went straight to DVD. I mean, let's see. Released the July 15th, and there was an unrated edition, which really didn't add much at all. To be perfectly honest, it was the film was serviceable. It was enjoyable. You could sit down and waste a couple of hours watching this one if you really, really dig Asian horror remakes or adaptations, and it'll work. I mean, it'll get you there, but you could feel it was kind of like the energy was running out of the train on this one, and then everything that came after is virtually almost forgettable. So, and that brought to mind while I was rewatching this movie is I started, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. Maybe the opinion of the people in the live chat. There seems to be a kind of sad necessity for foreign remakes, because it's not just horror films that we see this in. It's virtually every single genre will get remakes of something. Like, I mean, there's been drama, action, whatever. Well, though it'll be a lesser known, kind of like obscure foreign film, and then get remade for American audiences. Throw in some solid named actors in there, give it a solid director, and then boom, you're off and running. But this was kind of a bummer, and it happens more in horror than it really happens anywhere else, because horror films are easy. People churn out horror films all the time, so why not adapt them for American audiences? But it really is a dearth of unoriginal idea, of just of no original ideas in Hollywood, or whatever studios are making these films, that they're constantly yanking from everybody else. So everybody else is doing it. All these other foreign, even Russia. I've seen some Russian horror films that have come over that were adapted, that the American ones suck, but the Russian ones were amazing. And it'd be like this. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Babadook remake.
It wouldn't surprise me either. It really wouldn't. And it's because, for some reason, most Americans don't like to watch foreign films, first of all.
Good point. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, unless you're like a cinephile, you're not going to go, especially films that are in different languages. People really just don't look for them. They don't get shown in theaters unless it's some indie theater. I think we have maybe 2 or 3 in Dallas total that'll show like real like foreign films and indie films. But you're not going. AMC is not going to play them. People aren't looking for them, so producers are like, well, you get this film that's successful, that is overseas. I guarantee almost most Americans have never even heard of it. So just copy it and just do it here. It's proven. Even if it's half as good, it will make its budget back.
Oh, Dark Steve brought up the Dragon Ball live action film. Oh yeah, and it really bummed me out when I was Jesse G said that's why they remade Rec and called it Quarantine, and Rec is superior and still can be perfectly watched with the subtitles. Rec is amazing. Rec 1, 2, 3, 4, all four of them were brilliant. Quarantine, and then Quarantine 2 was just completely absolutely forgettable. It was like why am I watching this?
You get halfway through 2 and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, the fucking thing had no soul whatsoever. So and it just, and watching this just kind of brought up the emotion that are there any original ideas coming out of fucking Hollywood? I mean, some of the best horror films I've seen lately have come from indie directors with no studio involvement who are making their own shit. But studio pictures. What I mean, is it me? Is it fucking laziness?
It's the guarantee. There are original films that come out all the time. You just never hear of them because they're not going to, right now being tight budget, they're not going to spend $10 million, $20 million on an unproven idea. They're not. So, but will somebody spend, say, $500,000? Yeah, $500,000, and your film makes $1 million in theaters. You made a profit. You just made $500,000, and you're a success. Versus $10 million, where now the film has to make $20 million to come back.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it just kind of bummed me out. It seemed to be the direction is kind of like, and I think it waters down the horror genre. I don't dig it at all. I think American audiences should. Ivy Gentry is right. Bring back existential dread. I think American audiences are worth more than that. Now, what can I say? Studios are a business. They're there to make money. Movies make money. That's what they're there to do. If they don't make any money, there won't be any fucking movies out of that movie house. So there's got to be a budgetary thing. Always, I hate it as a director myself. I hate worrying about budgetary shit. Because I'm not a producer. I don't fucking worry about money. Either I can shoot it or I can't shoot it. And I know I've worked with Eugene. Eugene's the same way. It's like, it's not in the budget. Fuck you. It is in the budget. Find it. Do something. And I understand that money. Yeah, Jessica G's right. Remakes won't die until people stop going to see them. This is true. Because occasionally you get solid ones. Especially when you get remakes of American titles, like the remake of Dawn of the Dead, the remake of The Crazies. There's been so many good ones, especially in the horror genre. They've been fantastic. There's been some shitty ones. Someone brought it up there. Grave Paradise brought up The Turning was absolutely abominable, which is crazy because that's such it's such a great story. The Innocents, done back in it was 1961. That was amazing because adaptation of Turning of the Screw. But apparently now I don't know why they couldn't adapt that. But either way, it felt very. I had its moments, but it felt very forced, and it felt very dare I say generic?
Yeah, and see, this is why I think Blumhouse has been killing it, is because these studios want to make the big picture. We want to make the $50 and $100 million. We want to compete with other blockbusters. Or Blumhouse is like, well, instead of making one film for $100 million, let's make 10 films for $10 million. Because they know if 2 of them go off, only 2, they'll make back all the money for all 10 films. So it allows them to be more risky. And you'll see films. You take a film like, say, Happy Death Day. No big studio is going to greenlit Happy Death Day.
Oh no,
it's just not. It's just not. And that was a great film. I love that film.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, Groundhog's Day meets a slasher movie. That's amazing. I mean, sweet. I know, obviously, no one had thought of it before because it's the first time I'd ever seen something like that. And then, of course, Freaky Friday meets a slasher movie, which was also amazing because I watched Freaky recently and it was fucking great.
See, exactly. And I feel like that's the way to go. You're not going to compete with Disney. Let Disney do its own thing.
Yeah.
But more films, smaller budget, and then 2, 3 of them go off. All of a sudden, they make $200 million. You made money. You made up the cost. That's the way to go nowadays.
Yeah. Ooh, look at you joined us. Crafty Keela. So good to see you, Hunt. And a happy Patty's Day to you as well.
Oh shit! It's St. Patrick's.
It is St. Patrick's Day. Unfortunately, I was at work. I couldn't go to the bar. I love going to St. Patty's. I love just hanging out in the bar. There's a wonderful wonderful Irish pub that's in downtown Plano. I love going there. Unfortunately, they're not open, and I was at work all day. So, and of course, hopefully next year, 2022, hopefully I'll be able to smash it on and get my party on. I really miss it. But happy Patty's Day. Crafty Keela says happy Patty's Day. I have work in the morning, so early night needed. Wanted to pop in and say hello. Well, thank you, Crafty Keela. Appreciate you stopping by. Another one of our amazing patrons. We love you so much. And I think I saw someone else. Shane Summer, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Man, I've got so many fucking amazing people in this chat. Look at all these gorgeous motherfuckers.
Look at all these beautiful people.
I fucking love whenever I see the chat just lighten up like that. I fucking love it. I love these people. Every single one of them have been so supportive of us, and we couldn't do the show without every single one of them. So fucking A. I'm bouncing around. Here's another thing that I'm running into. Just a heads up. It may seem like I delay every moment there, but I currently only have one monitor. So I literally have this one monitor right here. I know. It's annoying. So I'm having to jump from app to app. So I'm jumping from literally. So I've got OBS here, and then I got Discord over here, and then I got I got the fucking stream on my phone, and I've got the studio. I'm all over the place. So I just want to make sure I try to stay on point. But
you're doing great, bud.
Despite the fact that this one was kind of a sad one, it did make me appreciate my the ones that I loved. So, because I quickly went back and rewatched the original Grudge, because I'm a huge Sarah Michelle fan. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm like in love with her. So I am. It's
yes, I know.
Ever since Buffy. So nonetheless, but it did make me appreciate the ones that a lot of love went into. There's still that moment in the Grudge when the captain or the detective is watching the security monitors. It's like he's trying to trace her movements, and like, okay, she runs down the hallway, and then all of a sudden, Kayako starts doing the stutter walk, down there, and the screen's kind of flickering and shit, and she walks in, and the detective's like, "Holy shit, what is that?" And then she leaves the frame, and everything goes back to normal, and then all of a sudden it starts going staticky again, and then it's just like this black wave starts coming up over the screen, and the eyes come up out of it. Like, that shit freaked me the fuck out.
I don't like it. I don't like it
at all.
I don't like it.
Oh yeah, it was fucking.
The Grudge was good. The Grudge will always be good.
And The Ring is still creepy as fuck.
You know what? It was good, and I was super into it. And it was one of those things I should not have seen the second one because that kind of ruined it for me. But I mean, still good.
You have to admit, you have to admit that the actually seeing the tape, they like all the images and shit. That was creepy. That shit was creepy as fuck.
That was good. You want to know one of my favorite?
It's a fucking. The ladder is falling. Why is it falling? I don't get it. Why is it scary?
It just fucked everything up for everybody for a long time. One of my favorites, though. That's probably an unpopular opinion. Was One Missed Call.
Oh, there's another one. Thank you.
I definitely liked that one.
Really?
I did. I don't know why. It wasn't even like a good movie. I think I just liked the concept, and I liked the acting in it was pretty okay.
I have a similar one. Pulse.
Okay, yeah, Pulse.
Okay,
I like Pulse.
yeah.
Before Jessica G says anything, it's not because Kristen Bell was in it. Okay. It was not because Kristen Bell was in it. It was the first time we heard her say the F word on screen.
Ever, I think.
No, I think she said it a couple times in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, I really liked it, and it was the
No, because she had to do Forgetting Sarah Marshall after Pulse because they reference it in the movie.
That's right, they do. Yeah. So, and Pulse was the first time that she ever said the F word on screen. I was kind of like, holy shit, Kristen Bell said the F word. Wow.
Oh my god.
So, Jessica G says, I showed Pulse in your fucking Discord, you tweet. Well, I wasn't on for that one, was I?
But that brings me to a question for the audience. We're talking about these remakes, Asian remakes in particular. What are y'all's favorites? There's a few of them out there. Some of the big ones we've talked about: The Ring, The Grudge. One that I recently went back and watched because I watched the documentary on Netflix about that girl that disappeared at the Cecil Hotel.
Oh yeah,
They referenced Dark,
Elisa Lam.
yeah, they
Yeah.
referenced Dark Water. How what happened to her very closely followed the movie Dark Water, which was unbelievably uncanny. Like it was like almost shot for shot what went down. So if you haven't seen I can't remember. I think it's called the Cecil or something at the
I think
Cecil.
it's the Cecil Hotel. I think
Whatever the documentary was.
Yeah,
that was good.
Angela and I just recently watched it.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it, they kind of plug up this Richard Ramirez stayed there, creepy, so unexplainable. They're explainable. It's a really scary. I mean, it's a really creepy place. We have a rundown hotel, on Skid Row. Of course, a lot of bad shit is going to happen there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. People basically drank her. Like,
oh yeah, for days, and that was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think getting the accounts of the people that were like the guests that were staying in the hotel that had to deal with the aftermath of that was like that had to have been horrible. Like you have to live with that for the rest of your life.
Oh, it's so fucking gross.
They referenced the movie Dark Water, and they start showing how that movie correlates exactly with like the events that happened to Elisa Lam, which was super creepy. So I went back and watched that one again. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
The Eye we talked about. Shutter. One Missed Call. The Uninvited was another one that was pretty good. That came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about The Uninvited. Yeah.
Yeah. So
my favorite is always going to be The Grudge because SMG, and not to mention I watched it in theaters and I was fucking scared. That was a fucking scary ass movie when I first saw it. Because and it was one of those ones, it was one of those horror films you go to watch in theaters. Usually, you're in the theater, not much is really quiet. This theater was stock fucking quiet. We're talking like I was the only one there. Everyone was just like, this is so like you. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. People were so twisted up by this thing. When that little kid, she's like. Yeah, I think the one thing that made it great was there were so few jump scares in that film. It really didn't need them.
Because the thing is, like, it was first of all the overall cinematography, fucking lighting's amazing in that film, and the thing is, it doesn't need it. It doesn't have to have a bunch of jump scares to remind you that this film you're watching is scary. Just the tone. In of itself,
seriously,
like when you watch The Ring, because The Ring is my favorite, and just the whole well video, and you see the shot of the well, and when she's crawling out, she jumps out towards the end when she gets out of the TV and all sorts of kind of stuff, but just that video as a whole, like you said, the ladder falling. Yeah. Why is the ladder falling creepy? Why is it just the well creepy?
It's a mirror on a wall.
That's it, the thing with The Grudge, the old one, not the newest one, Grave, was the stairs scene. The way that when going down the stairs all twisted up and shit. That still fucks with me. Just that shot alone, and they've used it in other things, and it just does not play the same way that it did in The Grudge.
Well. Let's see, we got Craft Tequila says Red Dragon was better than Manhunter. Just saying. Interesting take. But I did like Red Dragon. I thought Ralph Fiennes was. I thought Fiennes was amazing in that as Dollar Hyde. Yes, Great Paradise. There is a Grudge remake, another Grudge remake. Has Lin Shaye is in it, which is awesome, but it was not so great of a movie. It was. In fact, I'm just gonna go out and say it was pretty fucking shit. Jessica G says it's not an Asian horror remake, but a remake nonetheless. She loved Silent House. Very cool, very nice. PhD Tony says The Ring as well, so he agrees with you, Eugene.
What's up, Tina Jones?
Tina Jones in the house. Good to see you.
What's up?
Eugene, you went into a million different molecules in a million different places there. That was pretty cool for a second.
when we were testing out the technology last night, or testing out OBS, like it would go like that, and then when he waved his hand across it, it would actually clear it up, so he could actually clean the screen.
Yeah, I was like,
hold on, let me get that real quick.
NA says, nothing scares me. I feel like I'm missing out on so much. No, NA, I am on a fucking mission. You've been coming to our movies in the Discord channel. I am on a mission to find one that you will enjoy. A slasher film that you'll really love, or a film that will scare the fuck out of you. I know there's one out there. Or at least it will have a scene in it that scares you. So I don't think you're that far gone yet.
there's still a couple out there. There are a couple of good foreign ones out there. One was like Cario, that had a really creepy scene with the woman running from under the staircase.
Ah, okay.
Ooh, yeah, like because you have the main character turns and he sees like a woman start running towards him, but it's like it's not synced up right. So she's kind of running, but she's moving slower than her like feet would be moving, and she's like moving out of. It's just creepy. It's creepy.
Nice.
It's a good film too. It's like Cario.
Good night, Craft Tequila. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, Sarcasm. Sarcasm says he recently saw Hosts. That actually scared me. And welcome, Sarcasm. Good to see you in the chat. Sarcasm, let me know. Was that the Host that released last year, directed by Adam Leader and Richard Oakes? Let us know, because we actually brought them on the show and we talked to them. So I'm hoping it's the same one that we saw. That we actually showed that in the in our Discord theater. Great Paradise says, "May the Devil Take You." Also, a great film.
Fuck. Okay. NA. Have you seen It Chapter 2? There was one thing, because we watch so many freaking horror movies that it's like we're kind of unfazed by stuff, and so it takes a lot to actually get me creeped out. In my age and experience in this now, but. Eugene, I know we've talked about it. The scene where the old lady, when she goes back to her old house, and then the old lady is in the house. That old lady scene in Chapter 2 is absolutely fucking terrifying.
Chasing the Taking of Deborah Logan.
Okay, that's a scary one too.
Might be pretty good. And let me know if you've seen The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Yeah, there's a couple we can throw out there.
Definitely. All right.
Cool. All right. Yeah, let us know. For the audio listeners, shoot us an email at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Let us know your favorite American remake. We're talking about Asian films in particular here, but shoot us your favorite remakes if you've got any, because it seems like we've got some people that just don't like remakes in the chat. Yes. All right, Eugene, take us to. I was going to try to come up with some phone number pun there, but it didn't work out. The next movie.
Take us to the next one.
All right. So for the next one, we have 976 Evil, released March.
I just came up with one.
I'm sorry. The title of this one always gets me. It's just kind of like. It's like, what's it gonna be? It's gonna be like a hotline to the devil. It's like, maybe it's like a pay line. 976 evil. You imagine the studio meeting on this. Be like 976 devil, 976 darkness, 97. No, what about just evil, guys? Evil. If you vote on evil, evil's good. That's fucking lunch.
976. We need 4 letters. 976. Fuck. No, we can't use that in the title, man.
Charlie Walt says, I tried to watch 976 and couldn't do it.
I honestly, when I started rewatching this, because I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this movie. I saw the first 30 seconds of it and I was like, oh, yep, no, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's but For those of you, this was actually directed by Robert Englund.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of only 2 films I believe he's directed. And
don't worry about the second one.
Yeah, I love Robert Englund. He's probably himself probably is not a fan of directing. Directing's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say.
For those out there, he's probably like, no, I'm good. But directed by Robert Englund, and it stars Stephen Joffrey, Jim Metzler.
There you go.
Okay. And Maria Rubel.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, in a nutshell, you call a phone number 976 evil, and it connects you with Satan.
Yep.
I don't even think you could even use this concept anymore, because back then people had land phones and you would call through your telephone, and so calling numbers like that is fine.
It's wild. It's wild because obviously this was before we had to put area codes into phone numbers, so you could just dial 7 numbers and you were good to go. But 976 was the precursor before 900 numbers. So if you dialed 976, this was dialed for typically premium pay lines. So this was a riff on that, and I'm telling you.
What are you telling?
Okay. This movie, regardless of what some people think, I think this movie is an underrated gem. It really is. Because this was 1989, you've got Robert Englund riding high, effectively as Freddy Krueger. He's a horror icon who's pretty much, cemented in horror history. So he's going to try his hand at directing, and he directed this one. He's got, I thought, a great cast to work with, good character actors, and kind of a silly horror premise. But it all of this put together really works because, honestly, this was a horror movie made for horror fans. Like, this is the reason that really diehard horror fans go and watch horror films. I would not ever say that this film was mainstream, but this movie wasn't trying to capitalize on anything either. This wasn't a cash grab. This was a script written, co-written by Brian Helgeland. This is the guy who wrote like L.A. Confidential and has won Oscars for his writing, and directed by Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself, with a great cast and really decent, I would say somewhat decent for the time, 1989 special effects. And I like the story because it was the quintessential, kind of revenge story where the bullied kid finds a way to get, pretty much gets power and starts setting people up because anybody who calls the hotline. Because I think it gives out like really, really goofy, like kind of like fortune cookie shit. Only it allows the devil to start kind of like taking your soul.
Yeah. And
so it basically end up taking people to hell. Well, the main character figures out this hoax? Figures out that, I can get all the people that were mean to me to call this line and be like, boom, and take care of it, get rid of all these motherfuckers. But unfortunately, then begins to twist him, and I don't want to spoil the ending for anybody who hasn't seen it. And Tina Jones, Killer Pad was no good. That was the second film that Robert Englund directed. That was just not great. And you can even tell it from a directorial standpoint. See, that was the great thing about this. Like I said, a horror movie for horror fans, because you could feel the energy that was in this. When the director is invested and the director wants to put his vision in there and wants to really capture something, you can tell. When the directing is lazy and they're not invested and they're just, there, like keeping the seat warm, saying action, saying cut, check the gate, blah, blah, blah. When they do that shit, you can tell. It feels very, very lazy. 976 Evil had none of that. It was energetic. You could feel it almost like Robert Englund took the Freddy energy and put it into this. Goofy, frenetic, and all the elements that you look for. And I for one, really enjoyed it.
Can we take a second and talk about Robert Englund's experience directing this film, though? Because he goes into this. This is his directorial debut. Mm-hmm. He's like, all right, I'm going to direct this movie. And then meets Nancy Booth, who was the set director, who he ended up marrying. So he meets his wife. while filming.
Oh, that's badass.
Gets on set, meets the
I
set
didn't know
director,
that.
was like, hot piece, I'm gonna hit that, and then Mary,
This is
later
a hot
Mary's-
piece. You're a hot piece. Let's do this.
there was an issue. Robert Englund said that the cats on scene would always follow directions, but he got extremely frustrated because the spiders that they used in the movie would not cooperate. So he comes into this movie, he gets on set, he meets this girl, falls in love, gets frustrated with spiders, loves the cats.
That's fucking amazing.
Oh no, it's great. And then they start putting stuff in there to be all cutesy. In the bathroom, there's some graffiti, and it's R and N, and it's for Robert, Nancy, because they're falling in love, and it's all
Sweet.
cutesy. So hell yeah, there was some good energy in this. He was having a great fucking time. You could see it though for sure. But yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff about how his life took kind of a turn from this point. But then he came out with that second movie we don't talk about, and that was over.
And that was it.
He's like, no, I'd rather act.
Let's see the one thing. Like JL talks about how this is a horror film for horror fans, and that's fine. But when movies tend to do that, a lot of them don't age well because it's horror fans for that era, and as horror continues to change and new fans are coming in and they're watching other films, a lot of times going back, because the best horror films are for anybody, not just fans.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I really, really dug this one. I could relate to it. Maybe I could relate to it a little bit more because I was bullied in school, and everyone who's ever just gotten the shit kicked out of them by assholes on a daily basis, I think identifies with that, and it's kind of like, I wish you could have some power to just kind of make it all end and make it all stop like that. And I think that the lead actor, I thought he was a perfect choice. Perfect, just physically, that's what he embodies. Not to mention when you put him alongside, who is it? Was it fucking damn it, twist it all around. The actor who plays his best friend.
Oh, you're talking about Jim.
Yeah, Jim Metzler.
Yeah.
So
Jim Metzler.
you compare the two of them, it's night and fucking day.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So I thought it had all the elements of a solid horror film. That I think was just a lot of fun. It looked like a lot of fun to make, especially Steven. Steven always looks like he has a blast when he's on set. I enjoyed it. It's a good little cult little film, and definitely worth the time.
No, definitely. If you've got a couple hours to kill, it's a fun movie for sure.
I don't want to. I don't want to spoil.
fun.
I don't want to spoil what happens because I honestly. Some people would say like a film like this is predictable. I didn't find it predictable. I didn't see that coming because the setup. You've got the relationship between Hoax and his best friend, and then the relationship with Hoax and everybody else. And then as what is happening to Hoax is happening to him, his best friend is fighting like hell for him. And I just, and then when the revenge riff starts playing out, I didn't expect what was going to go down. And I thought it was pretty cool. So if you haven't seen it, and I don't want to spoil it, definitely go and check it out. It's worth a watch. I mean, in my opinion.
It's definitely worth a watch. It definitely is worth a watch.
Yeah.
And Dark Steve says, JL sitting on a pee. I'm not sitting on a pee. I was laughing and I leaned back in my chair and I fear I broke my chair.
We're only halfway through the podcast. You got a long way to go.
And it's going way too far back now. I think I fucked the chair up. I did because I was going back and then it went boom and I thought I saw somebody laugh. I think it was Grave Paradise because I leaned back and my chair went and I was like, oh shit, I almost fell. And so I think I fucked my chair up. And everybody's laughing about it. But definitely put it on the list, Grave Paradise. I think that you really, really like it.
It is worth checking out. It's quintessential 80s horror. And
it did get a sequel.
Sequel. That's what I was looking at the notes. It's like I have not seen the sequel.
Yes, it did get a sequel, and the sequel was I think was kind of standalone. Like you don't have to watch the first one to watch the second one. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, they just threw 976 Evil on it just for attention. It's kind of yeah, exactly, kind of like Troll 2. Yeah. So, and although this sequel is not nearly as bad as Troll 2. But yeah, they pretty much threw 976 Evil 2 on it. Yeah, yes, I'm sure. Nothing is as bad. Well, is there anything worse than Troll 2? Shit,
I don't think so.
That could be another podcast.
Yeah, seriously.
It's up there. Whoever thought popcorn was erotic? Like,
what the fuck? Oh, thank you, Tina Jones. Tina Jones has a spare chair. She's given it to me in the chat. It's very small. Oh, but definitely. But certainly, I don't think you need to watch the sequel. I mean, if you want to, you say you saw both of them, but it's not really a 976 Evil movie. It's not. It kind of just riffs on it and steals the title. It's one of those situations where they have a script, they're trying to get it made, they need to get rid of it, try to make some money off of it, so they just tweak the script a little bit, they bring in somebody, tweak it a little bit, try to link it thematically to the first film, change the title to 976 Evil 2, and then they just drop that and try to recoup a bit of money from the box office.
Then they threw in the Miss America finalist as the lead character.
Yeah.
I was just reading up on it.
You just throw something in there. Yeah, just throw something in there. Just go, yep, there it goes, and you're done.
Yep, there it is. There's a twist. All right, yep, that's it. But so actually, for those of you who've seen the first one and the sequel, which one did you prefer, the original or the sequel? So let us know in the comments below. For those listening on Spotify, Google Play, the other podcast formats out there, shoot us an email at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yes. Yes. We need more emails.
Yes, we do.
Definitely. All right. So staying in the 80s, JL, what do we got next?
Oh, we're going all the way back. 1981. I was 1 year old. Holy shit. So
Jesus.
you turned.
My mom was 11.
Now I feel really fucking old. So, yes, going back to 1980, we're going 1981. March 27th, 1981, we had Eyes of a Stranger. Ooh, an American slasher film. Directed by Ken Wiederhorn and written by Mark Jackson. Starring Lauren Hughes, John DeSanti, and Jennifer Jason Leigh in her first film appearance. But in essence, the film is about a serial killer who calls his victims and taunts them, scary messages before he tracks them down and brutally fucking murders them. And I'm talking hardcore. An enjoyable little film. And when I say, when I say hardcore, definitely check to see if you can find the unrated edition of the unrated version of this that has the restored footage, because Tom Savini was in charge of the effects of this movie. And as usual, as for the time, because this is the early 1980s, Tom Savini's work was a little too much for some people.
A lot of people. I was reading through some of the complaints. It was too much. It was definitely fucking anybody that knows anything by Tom Savini knows that it's gonna be just a brutal fucking blood. I mean, fucking Machete, like just Dawn of the Dead, From Dusk Till Dawn, like anything that he's been in is just absolutely brutal, blood, guts, make you want to puke. Shit, I was just thinking of Machete Kills. I gotta watch that movie again. Sorry. My head is in another place. My head is I'm so out there right now that somebody said something about Leprechaun in the chat. Should have done Leprechaun tonight. And when you started describing this movie, I was in my head. You're like, the serial killer calls and leaves creepy messages. I'm like, I don't remember that being in Leprechaun. I was like, oh, wait a second. We're talking about
something completely different.
I know. Sorry, it's been a long freaking week, guys. But yeah, no, it's this. I'd never seen this before. I didn't even know this was a movie until we started talking about it. And I went and watched it. And I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about when he was saying too much. Okay.
Yes. That was the whole big
yeah.
thing, is because this was 1981. So I think over in England they were being pretty much harassed by the video nasties era.
So repressed.
Yes,
It was
yeah, you know,
not
like
good.
the I know that I know PhD Tony's very very familiar with it. He's spoken at length about it in the past. We've chatted about it on other shows, but yeah, the video nasty panic resulted in a lot of things being censored, being pulled by the state, and being shut down. Here in America, we had kind of the same effect, where some films were delayed or some films were heavily edited in order to avoid the dreaded triple X rating at the time, because NC-17 didn't exist. So if you got that triple X rating, it wasn't just for adult films, it was for films that were just too violent or too extreme in some way, and that would basically shut you down. You could only get like underground theaters to show them, because no movie house would ever pick them up. So,
well, even in this one, they had to tone it down. Like the murders in the film had to be toned down,
yes,
just to get the R rating, just to be able to put it out there, which was that's incredible. And you mix in stuff like sexual assault and stuff like in 1981. Yeah, I'm surprised this movie even came out then.
It was brutal.
And this is when you start going into kind of editing, you have an idea of what you actually really want, and it's like, okay, well, graphic kills, I want it to be shocking, but there's always this line, and the line really depends on what's going on society-wise, because it's like you want to push the envelope, but if you push it too far, then your piece of art can't be shown anywhere, because if you get a triple X rating, you're not going to make money back. You're not enough theaters won't even show your film, even if it's really good. It has a steady cult following. It doesn't get seen anymore. So it's like you push the envelope, but if you go too far, it won't be seen. So they actually had to scale some of it back to just get that R rating. R rating's fine. Horror movies, R rating, we love it. That's perfectly fine. Even NC-17 films, it's almost like a death sentence. That's why you only have all of them come out.
Yeah. And that was a big thing. Savini, I thought, was pretty much, king of the horror effects in the 80s. And we've talked about him before on the podcast. And for those who are not familiar, I mean, not familiar with Savini's background, Savini was a Vietnam veteran and took a lot of what he saw over there during that conflict, and it inspired him in his makeup, which is why it is so extreme. You have, I think, one of his most extreme moments was in Maniac, in which Frank jumps up on the car and sticks a shotgun right there at the driver, and the driver was Tom Savini, because Tom Savini was working as a makeup effects artist, and he happened to be there, and they needed a fake head to explode, to blow up, because the killer was jump up on the car and stick the shotgun right there in front of the windshield, pulled the trigger, and then the head was going to explode. Well, the only fake head that Savini had on hand was one of himself. So he was like, fuck. So he actually scored himself a role in the film as the girl's boyfriend to take the shot. So then, and it was so extreme that I'd heard, the rumor was that several people threw up when they saw it. Because, he jumps up at there, it's like, holy shit, there's that brief moment that he pulls the trigger, windshield goes away, and then the head just splits apart like a fucking melon. The girl gets splattered all over the place. It's
great.
Fucking crazy. Maniac, the first Maniac was fucking crazy.
It was fantastic.
And a little inside information, when they did that, they didn't actually have the permit to use the gun, because Savini was very much, if you're going to go for effect, especially a gunshot, you need to use a gun. So It wasn't fake, and that was a legit shotgun that he jumped up on the car with, that the actor jumped in the car with, and pulled the trigger. So the actor jumps up, pulls the trigger on the shotgun, blows the whole fucking thing away, and then quickly they yell cut, throw the shotgun to Tom Savini, who's off camera. He grabs it, throws it in the trunk of a car that was timed to drive off with the shotgun and drive it away, just in case the cops were called. So they weren't fucking around on that one.
That's fucking guerrilla filmmaking right there.
Right, yes. Well, we don't have a license to use it. Well, then we'll just hide the gun.
Shoot it, we'll run later. Shoot now, ask questions later.
Fucking Lloyd Kaufman does that shit all the time. I can't remember what film it was in, but it was a trauma film where they did the same thing. No, no permits, whatever. And it was they had to film in a major area, and it had escalators. And the scene was a big fat guy who weighs like 400 pounds gets eaten by an escalator. Like, oh yeah, like that, and just blood. And you can imagine, trauma style. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Trauma gross. But they had no permits to do this, so they had to time it to when when the whole area was at its like the least amount of traffic, and they literally hid all of their equipment in the bathroom. And so they waited, they timed it. The minute all the traffic died down, they ran in, grabbed all the equipment, ran out, shot the whole scene in like 15 minutes. Okay, no cleanup. They didn't clean it, they just shot it and then fucking ran.
Can you imagine the janitor coming up afterwards and it's blood and guts everywhere?
I couldn't even imagine what because I mean, Kaufman said we're shooting this, and everybody said the people behind him were like, "Tell me, we can't do this." You think about what's going into to have this giant, great big fat guy being eaten by an escalator, and obviously we need a working escalator, and we need to mock it up. There's got to have blood and everything in a public space. We don't have any permits. He's like, do it anyway. It's like, fuck it. So they did it. Fucking crazy. But that was, and same thing with Tom Savini. Tom Savini was always so extreme. His effects were amazing. I think the best example of his stuff was in his remake of Night of the Living Dead. I thought he brought some real gruesomeness to that one. It was something that we didn't see in the Romero one, because Romero was black and white. It was 1968. You kind of get an idea, but it's all in your head. With Savini, it's not in your head anymore because he's literally shot it out of your head, but it's all over the fucking place. It's
all over the screen.
It's fucking crazy. But that was the whole thing, and at the time the video nasty panic was going on. Everybody was freaking out that violent these terrible violent films were going to degrade society.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's interesting the fact that I wonder, with Tom Savini being a Vietnam veteran, if the stuff he saw in Vietnam, first of all, it helps him recreate it, because hey, the fact that he's like, you don't know what a head looks like being shot.
Fuck.
You shoot it. Who knows? He's like, yep. It has to look a certain way, because it's what it looks like when a head explodes. How do you know? Trust me, I know.
Oh, that's like Christopher Lee on Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay, when he was Alex, did you ever hear about that?
I heard, yeah.
Okay, well, Christopher Lee. For those who may not be aware, in the chat or have not heard it, Christopher Lee was telling Peter Jackson how to react when stabbing someone in the back. Yeah. Because in the script, Saruman gets stabbed in the back, and then Peter, the script says, Saruman gets stabbed, and Saruman screams, "Oh!" It's like, no, it's like, Peter, that wouldn't work. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, when you get stabbed in the back, you gasp. So it'd be like, and it'd be a quick gasp.
Air's escaping out of your lungs.
Okay, but like this, and that's basically what happens when you get stabbed in the back. And then Peter was like, Chris, how do you know that? And then Peter Jackson said, Christopher then told me a story he probably shouldn't have told me. So, because if anybody's familiar, and I invite anybody to go look it up, look up Christopher Lee's background in World War II.
He was a member of the British SAS, which is equivalent to the U.S. Navy SEALs, Special Forces. These are people who are commandos dropped behind enemy lines, and it doesn't get more hardcore than that. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
So Christopher Lee saw some shit, and then he saw some shit.
He was full of shit like that too.
Well, Christopher Lee saw some shit. And then he came over here and was one of the greatest Draculas ever. I mean, I fucking love him and Peter Cushing. I mean, right there. There's few duos that really get it done like Cushing and Lee did, which is awesome. But yeah, man, I love Savini for his work. And I think, Eugene, I think you're absolutely right. I think his experiences in Vietnam, it did obviously, out of respect for all of the veterans that are out there, he saw some real heavy shit, and he dealt with it in the best way that he could. He got creative and gave us some of the most legendary effects that have ever come down the pipe. Everything that Savini touches, I have loved. So I've never seen it like, oh, this sucks ass. He's like, no, Savini's shit is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never half-asses anything.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, on occasion, they gotta. I mean, editing for acceptability was such a shame because, and I think Eugene, I think you can speak the best about this. You've done a lot more directing than I have. But when you've got to cut stuff, either for time constraints or I think it's got to be even worse. I mean, I know cutting stuff for time is a pain in the ass. You shoot a great ass scene, it just happens to take a little bit long, and but it's perfect, and you're like, shit, I have to like chop this thing up, or you got to lose something for time constraints. That always sucks. But imagine like the censor has come along and be like, no, you can't show this. This is incorrect. It plays to the story. It informs the audience of what's going on. The scene is fucking important, but no, you just can't do it. I can't even imagine dealing with that.
Well, because how much work goes into it? We've been talking with Tom Savini, but when you got the production designer and the art director and the director itself, these things are worked out. And these things are okay. Well, Tom Savini's creating the effects. And the director and the cinematographer, okay, well, how are we going to shoot it to make it the most convincing? And so a lot of time and work goes into that. It's a whole team of people, and they put so much time and so much work, and they're building it, and they're really looking forward to it. And then it's like, okay, well, we spent 3 months on these 5 shots to add that extra gore that we're looking for, and now we just got to cut it.
Yeah,
no one will ever see it, and it's sad.
But there's a sunny side to that. As NANA points out in the live chat, that's why I tend to love director's cuts. Fuck yes.
It is. Director's cuts they're a catch-22 because sometimes when you have to cut stuff for, say, censorship, or sometimes the studio is like, we need a certain runtime. So, like Alien vs. Predator, he had to cut 20 minutes out of that film to hit a 90-minute runtime. Director's cuts are better. Yeah, it feels stupid. And director's cuts are better. On the other hand, I've watched a lot of director's cuts where they're like, okay, well, we add the scene like in Gladiator. There's a couple scenes that were added, and I was like, I understand why the studio cut it. I was like, it didn't really add anything.
I think Alex, what do you think? More often than not, the director's cuts are better because we get more stuff. Like the director's cut of Event Horizon. There was a missing footage. There isn't a director's cut, but there is additional footage, and if that were put in, I think would make it better. But more often than not, it's better than it is worse.
If you're a cinephile and if you're really into the story, absolutely the director's cut would, because it depends on the director. If you really like the director, you want to see more of what they had for that story. Absolutely. Sometimes they're unnecessary, but yeah, most of the time they do actually do the film better than.
Yeah.
Because like you guys are talking about, it sucks that there's supposed to be things like, even in Eyes of a Stranger, like there was a scene that, I mean, it's probably good that they didn't put a rape scene in there, but they had to cut it out, and it was like, not that I want to see that type of scene, but it was like a scene that was worked hard on. That's an emotional scene for somebody to do, and then they just take it away.
Yeah. Oh, NANA says, "Oh, come on, Alien vs. Predator should have been like 45 minutes." So true. But he also points out the Abyss director's cut.
Okay, yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. It always depends on what the reasoning is, because if you look at the original cut the director wanted for Empire Strikes Back, terrible. Empire Strikes Back would not be the Star Wars film it was today if they did the director's cut. It would not. It would have been terrible. R2-D2 and C3PO go on their own adventure on planet Hoth that no one cares about.
Really?
And the fact, oh yeah,
oh, that's terrible.
If you go to YouTube, there's actually you can find the footage, and C3PO and R2-D2 go on an adventure on the Hoth base. They do their own thing, and the creature that attacks Luke follows the base. And so the creatures are at the base too, and they do kill like stormtroopers and stuff like that too. So this is a whole other aspect that, like, you watch and you're just like, No, that needed to go.
Oh, that's way too much. That's just way too much going on there.
There's too much
Hey,
going on.
Thaddeus Cost has joined us in the live chat. Good to see you. And yes, the director's cut of The Abyss was freaking amazing. Absolutely
It's been
sweet.
there for a while.
But yeah, that's the. I dig it, and I hope one day, one film I could say, the Knights of Badassdom. I hope one day we get a director's cut of that because the studio, was it E1 Entertainment? They fucked with that movie so badly. I hope we get a legitimate. I think it was Joe Lynch. Joe Lynch who directed it. I hope we get a legitimate director's cut of that film because Kurt Russell apparently screened it before it ever came out and said that it was absolutely amazing. It was knocked down funny and had the horror, and it was fantastic. It was a beautiful blend. And I know Lynch was super, super proud of it, and then E1 bought it, and they hacked it up until the lowest, to serve the lowest common denominator, and then just put it out. It was such a damn shame. But yeah, director's cuts. You usually add a bit.
You brought up that movie.
What?
That's such a random movie to bring up.
Knights of Badassdom was a horror film.
Okay.
It was a horror.
It just sounded like it came out of nowhere. No, it's great, and you're right. I hope one day we do get a director's cut. That's a director's cut I really do want to see.
Yes.
It's just funny because it came out of nowhere.
More Peter Dinklage. Yes, no, it was just a random one. It was a random movie to bring up.
Oh, but yeah, that's why. I mean, I usually typically dig the director's cuts a little bit more. But that actually brings up. We talked a lot about Savini and his history here, so I'm really curious. I do want to ask the audience, ask the live chat, and of course, let us know the answer to this down in the comments below, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com. What is your favorite Tom Savini film? Not ones he's directed, but even ones that he's directed, but the ones that he's worked on. His effects are prolific, and they have a style to them that I think is, in the horror genre, is pretty unmatched. There's good ones out there. I mean, Rob Bottin, is fantastic, but they worked in other genres as well. Tom Savini is pretty much horror and all things related. So let us know, what is your favorite Tom Savini horror film? The best effects you've seen of his. Let us know in the live chat, in the comments below. Hit us up, weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Does it have to be horror? I mean, people could like Zach and Miri make a porno,
Ever see somebody get shit on? Yeah, Zach and Miri make a porno.
You know he was in that, right?
Yeah, I know. But every time anybody mentions that movie, I just picture just where he's him with the camera facing up. He's like, "Okay, be careful, guys. I'm down here."
she says something along the lines.
Do you see this shit? Do you see this shit?
For a week.
Do you see this shit? That bitch just frosted me like I was a fucking cake.
Yeah.
Don't ever say shit covered to me again. That was so fucked up.
That was a fucked up movie.
Anywho, Alex, we've got one more.
No, we're just gonna talk about Zach and Miri make a porno now.
No, we're not. No, we're not. That's on Weekend Comedy.
Yeah. All right, let's kick this last one off. We've got The Haunting in Connecticut, March 27, 2009. This one was directed by Peter Cornwell, written by Adam Simon, Tim Metcalf, Virginia Madison, Kyle Gallner, Elias Cotillas, Amanda Crew, Martin Donovan, Sophie Knight, Eric Berg. Couple more no names in this one too. This movie, your typical haunting movie. A family relocates to Connecticut. Their son is sick, and then some ghost shit starts happening in the house. The cool thing about this one though is it's one of those ones where it's like based on a true story. The one thing that really bothered the shit out of me was they didn't. I guess probably because of legal reasons, but they kept it's the Campbell family in the movie. When the real story follows the I can't ever pronounce the last name, Snedeker family.
I think Snedeker family, right?
Snedeker. I think that's what it. Yeah, I always say it wrong. I know it's Carmen and Al Snedeker, but follows the family's adventure through the paranormal activity that happens in their house, and then shit gets real.
Shit gets real.
That's Eugene's line.
No, it was a pretty good movie.
I was okay. One thing that struck me with this one, and I have to say, it's free on YouTube right now.
Oh, is it really?
That doesn't detract from the quality of the film is decent, and it's got some creepy little moments in it. A thing that stood out to me was, okay, effectively this is a haunted house film. Okay,
Yeah.
Family moves in, ghost in the house, haunted house. It's just particularly and then I started looking at it compared to the Amityville Horror.
Right.
And I think we talked about a previous one, another one, burning. Alex, you reminded me. The house that feeds on the people that live in it had Karen Black in it.
Nope. I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah. You reminded me of the title.
It was burning something. Burning.
I know you know this. Okay, he's gonna make me look it up because now it's gonna.
No, I'm already looking it up because it's bothering me. I have no idea what we talked about. The burning. No, that's not it. Awkward silence. Oh, burnt offerings.
Burnt offerings.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So very similar to burnt. I started thinking about movies like Burnt Offerings and the Amityville Horror, and going all the way back to the House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
The original Vincent Price one. So I'm sitting here thinking of it. The modern horror film or the modern haunted house horror film had pretty much been a chain of one-upmanship ever since going back as far as the 1930s. And each one tries to pretty much catapult off of the next one and just try to add a little bit more. And that's kind of the sensation that I got from The Haunting in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you always got to as technology changes, as what scares people changes, you always got to push that. Like one of my favorite films growing up was The Haunting. It's like 1950s, 60s, something like black and white, where it had like the walls breathing and some like blood coming down. And it was great for its time period, and it scared the shit out of a lot of people. But you take that today, no one's going to be scared of that.
Yeah.
And so it reminds me of a meme that I saw that was like, why are ghosts always like old Victorian women in white dresses? It's 2021. Why don't we have ghosts walking around screaming, "It's Britney, bitch"? And it's like, shit, I guess, nobody's done like a modern day haunting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as of recent, we've had some decent ones on Netflix. The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. Those were both excellent.
Yes, you're absolutely
right.
But
I mean, but like I said, it's also still one-upmanship because The Haunting of Hill House played with was excellent cinematography, not to mention terrific acting, but the way it was shot, in the manner that it was shot, made it stand out. And then The Haunting of Bly Manor was how it played with time and perception, because you didn't know what you were perceiving was the perception of the ghosts. So it played the way, and that is
cool. I just started that. Thanks for fucking that up for me.
I didn't fucking do
Spoiler alert.
I didn't spoil anything in that fucking movie. I didn't.
I had no idea. I literally just started watching it.
I didn't spoil shit. Okay, because I didn't tell you who or which one. Nonetheless, that's what I got off of watching A Haunting in Connecticut. And this isn't even the most recent one. I mean, hell, this was 2009. So this is literally over 10 years ago. We still, and if you look at the ones that have come out after, it's it's like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor. That it's still kind of one-upping itself, just trying to ramp up what you get what you get in the haunted house. There's got to be. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, because that's what you have to do. If you look at, say, Amityville, you say the original Amityville versus the one with Ryan Reynolds in it.
Yes.
Right? Both of them were considered scary time period. But as what scares people changes, filmmaking techniques changes, and everything like that, that genre has to adapt to it. So that's why like cinematography is really strong in horror films right now. Whereas in a lot of horror films in the past, there are some ones that are shot great. A lot of horror films in the past, cinematography and lighting actually take kind of a back seat. It'll focus more on, say, the gore, the villain, the practical effects, and everything like that. And then you just kind of do like a basic standard lighting. And now it's like, no, we want cinematic camera movements. We want move light. Yeah.
Say that, and it's like you can look at like the early 2000s, kind of into the 90s, and it's like the movement of the people, and you go back a little farther, and it's the gore a little farther. Then you're talking practical effects, and then even like farther into black and white, where they didn't have any like color schemes or lighting or anything to work with. It was just focused solely on different aspects of the film. That's a good way to look at it. I've never kind of thought about that, but each time period has its own way of doing it. And as we get more into like CGI and, we can fuck around with more than just ripping people's arms off.
Now we can rip people's arms off cinematically.
No, we talk about and taking more risks, taking bigger risks with what you do, because that's how you push the genre itself. The Haunting of Hill House had one of the most amazing scenes I've ever seen, and that was when the families all gathered in the funeral home.
Oh my god!
And I didn't. I had to watch it a second time because I had to actually watch it multiple times because that whole scene was one take.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we've talked about that before.
Exactly. It was just the timing of everything that was going on in the background that you don't really catch, or you only glimpse. It was brilliantly done. But this is where it goes. I'm hoping that there's not a kind of breaking point, because eventually you're going to get out of the haunted house. The haunted house genre, and you're going to wind up becoming a slasher, you're going to wind up becoming a possession horror, you're going to wind up becoming something else. Like, what more could they possibly add to the haunted house genre, like the haunted house horror? Because right now we're also seeing a ramping up of the acting, having really strong, driven character stories where we really invest in these people, and of course the horrible shit happens to them. So it's an ever-evolving and ever-expanding one, I think, as you followed along throughout history, really adapts and evolves as the time. And I think you can see the changes in society reflected the most in this, because, the home is your castle. The home is your safe place. And what's scarier than your home being out of control, or something being in your home that you don't want there? Some invader or invading force, like Poltergeist. Something's in your house that is terrifying you, but it's your home, so what are you going to do?
Leave?
Most people don't want to fucking leave. And
when shit starts carving shit into your body from head to toe, get the fuck out.
This is fucking true. This is true.
You just leave. Go anywhere else. The housing market was great back then. Just fucking leave.
And while the majority of
Eugene, is that a crib in your background?
Oh yeah, it's a crib back there. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. Is that even your house?
Whose house are you haunting right now?
Who is in those pictures? But yeah,
the more questions you ask, the more you don't want to know. So just ignore it.
But I think you can really see the evolution of horror the best through the haunted house horror film. Is that as we've always stated, horror being a reflection of society and all, and as society has changed, horror is also adapted to reflect that. I think you see it the best in the haunted house story, because I think the haunted house story is one of the pivotal areas of horror, the pivotal parts of horror that really rings true for people. I mean, think of movies like The Entity, where where our lead character is being attacked in her home by a spirit.
Yeah.
And I found a new kind of appreciation for it, looking back at the scope of the entire history of the haunted house horror. But there was something that concerned me about this film. And it didn't really have to do anything with the film itself. And we're going to go a little bit real world here. Because after watching it, something was really, really bugging me. And it was pretty much the Warrens. Ed and Lorraine Warren. Demonologists, exorcists, paranormal investigators.
They should put that on their business card.
They really should.
I think they did before they passed away. And I don't want to speak ill. I'm not going to speak ill of the dead. But so Hollywood has a fascination with adapting stories. Okay, when the rights to the Warrens' investigative files were sold, Hollywood could start making movies out of them. So that's why we have the Conjuring universe and so on and so forth. The areas that Ed and Lorraine Warren worked in were highly controversial. They did not work for the church. They engaged in this stuff independently. So it already is controversial. Then you consider the families that were involved in this. Okay, you consider the families that were involved in these particular stories, whether or not the events that took place were true. These are families who've been through a lot of trauma, who've dealt with stuff that probably doesn't need to be plastered all over the place. Then the rights to these investigative stories are sold. And then Hollywood adapts these stories, and then the frenzy begins all over again. And I was curious as to what your guys' thoughts were on the ethical considerations of adapting this level of controversy. Though the names may be changed, though the place may be slightly adjusted. Okay, these are real families' lives that this stuff was based on. And then Hollywood's making movies off of this that are, that are doing very well at the box office. It's going to attract attention. It's just like the Amityville Horror. Whatever went down in that house, we don't know. I don't think it was anything supernatural that went down in that house. But whatever went down in that house, whoever owns that house now is permanently owning a fixture in horror because of the film series, because of the ongoing film franchise. We're about to get another Amityville. I think I don't even know. So many fucking subtitles. I have no idea which one it is now. But we're about to get another Amityville Horror film coming up, and imagine owning that house and constantly being bombarded with people looking for signs of spirits, or looking for this, or knocking on the door, or prowling around the property for whatever reason, looking for a memento. I don't know how many times the High Hope sign has been stolen from 112 Ocean Avenue. So these people's lives are being invaded again. Is there an ethical consideration to this?
It's a really hard question, and I like to think about. I was watching the interview. I'll transition to music real quick. I watched an interview with some well-known artists. They're talking about artists that commit suicide, and we listen to, say, rock songs and we enjoy them and stuff like that. But when you get a lot of these artists that say a girl broke their heart, or whoever their mom passed away unexpectedly, or some kind of loss, grief, pain, or something like that. So for their outlet, they write a song. That song becomes a hit. Now it's played everywhere. You have to record a music video for it. Whenever you play live, you have to play a song again and again and again and again. And to us, it's a piece of art that we enjoy. But to that artist, it makes it really hard to get over what was that song connected to, because you can never escape it. And so going back to these people that their lives are based off of, it could be because it keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. I realize that art requires sacrifice, always. But what's really hard about this situation is sometimes these people aren't prepared to make that sacrifice. A lot of are, whereas here, maybe not. Maybe if you buy the house already that it's going to be famous, or you like to collect properties or mementos or something like that, this may be something you may actually enjoy. But if you're just a regular owner and something happens, shit happens, they make a movie, and you're just staying in the house because you just happen to like the house, and then you have that unwanted pressure. Where's that line where maybe the sacrifice is not worth the art?
It's true. PhD Tony says the owners of the house have said publicly that all the, I think he says fittings there are original. The claimed events in the film have no factual basis. He also stated that this was a quote: "If Lorraine Warren told me the sky was blue, I would go outside and verify it." A quote from the author of the book that was involved in this. So yeah, so there's problems there. It's problematic. What do you think, Alex? Do you think someone actually brought it up? So it was like for using their story, they could at least get something. Here's the problem: is that these people called Ed and Lorraine Warren for help because of whatever they thought was or what they thought was going on in their home. I don't want to speak to their particular experiences, but Ed and Lorraine Warren did their investigations, and they took all investigative material with them, and that was theirs, proprietary. And then they sold the rights to that, which means the families, I don't think ever had any initial say in what was going on.
Here's
So
Here's
yeah,
my
Alex,
take
was there
on
an
this.
ethical line that was crossed?
Yes and no. Yes, NA actually made a good point. Do your homework. Do you want the publicity attention? So with people like Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're coming into your house. They've got recording equipment. They've got all sorts of stuff. I mean, if I was going to invite somebody like that into my house, and I knew that they had done things like take stories and sell them before, write up a contract. I mean, it's really not that hard to get a legally binding contract signed. And if they really want, if Ed and Lorraine are actually there to do paranormal investigating as a job, then they would have no problem signing a release form saying you can't sell my story. And that's just something that's really easy to do. On the other hand, they did just go in without thinking about the repercussions that it would have on the family, and they went ahead and sold it. But you're coming from two different sides there. You've got Ed and Lorraine who are going to do whatever the fuck they want because they're not being told not to, and they're making money off of it. Which, I mean, yeah, it makes you a shitty person, but it's still you're not doing anything legally wrong. So it's the morals of the person doing it. Really, I have no say on what they do. It's stupid. I mean, if if you knew that they were going to be recording in your house, have them sign something saying that they can't sell. Um, but I don't think that the people that were portrayed in these films actually had any particular. There wasn't much in research about them not liking the attention. There was a couple of cases that were a little over the line, but somebody gets paid for it, fine. If they want to pay the homeowners, if they want to write up a contract and say, hey, if you sell our story, we get a cut of the profits. But yeah, I mean, there's so many lines there. You can't just be like, does it cross a moral line? Yeah, it crosses a few moral lines in many different directions. So the people involved should have covered their own asses. Also, Ed and Lorraine have never really been held accountable for theirs, so they're going to keep doing it. So yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is.
Morality wise, there's just so many. And Eugene made a good point with like artists making a movie or a song. They know that if they're going to put music out there, they know if they're well known, and they know their song's good. They know what comes with that. They know what comes with putting out a good song, and so they made the choice to do what they did, and they have to reap what they sow.
Yeah. Well, PhD Tony mentions that the testimony of the author of the book "Haunting in Connecticut" is based on found everyone's story to be inconsistent and that the family was beset by drug and alcohol addiction. And I found that in my own personal research that mental illness tends to affect these families a great deal. But that being either here or there, so if there is an ethical line being crossed by the Warrens selling their proprietary information that they got from these investigations, twisting it changing it or twisting it to however they whatever, and then they sell it off just like they did with the story of Annabelle. Sell it off to some studio, then the studio makes the movie. So here you are, you're the director. Okay, you're the director of like The Conjuring. Okay, or The Conjuring 2 or whatever, or Annabelle, or any of those deals. And what you're sitting on was based on actual events or somebody's actual report. Real people's lives are involved. Does that ethical line, does it go further? Does it go, I mean, obviously there was one that the Warrens crossed. Does the studio cross that line? Does the director cross that line? Do people involved in that? Or can we separate, at this point, the art from the ethical matter that people's lives could be disrupted?
That all comes from
Yes.
That all comes from kind of like the studio decision, because they're the ones that actually greenlit it and decided, yes, we're going to forward. I wouldn't necessarily put that on the director's because the director was just hired to do a job, and the director can have a million different ways to tell the tale on it, but it's, hey, you're hired to do a job. You're given a script and you make.
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah, that's the studios are the ones that have to deal with the ethics of that.
Right.
That makes sense. It's wild. I felt very, very weird because this one, unlike like an American Haunting, which was based on a very, very old story. It was based on it was just basically taken from the Bell Witch haunting in Tennessee. Unlike things like that, Peach Tony says, I think there should be an explicit declaration that the story is fictionalized. Absolutely. The based on true events or inspired by, I think inspired by true events is a little bit better. But we say based on actual events or based on true events, I think it is a bit misleading. And I think can draw people in. Like the real fanatics can draw people in to start looking into these things and trying to get the real information, like what really happened, which I think can set some people up. Which is exactly what happened with the Amityville house. And the worst example of this was the movie Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg and The Rock. Absolutely. And I agree with that. And Great Paradise says they didn't even think about it and they don't care. Well, from the studio level, money's money.
Yeah, that's when it's gone that far already. It's just money, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I found that interesting because a haunting in Connecticut was a bit more recent. Well, I mean, it was decades ago, but it was more recent in terms of a lot of legitimate events. And I was kind of like, wow, these people are still alive. Like the kids depicted in this, they're still out there. They're grown adults now. And I'm wondering when this movie came out, who came knocking on their door? And imagining that if I went through this level of trauma in my own personal life, I would not want that. And I would be pissed. But, hey.
You got to look at it from the other side of things, too. How many of these stories were, by the people living in the house, exaggerated in order to gain attention. Stuff like that too kind of comes into it. So it's like you look at this, and they did interviews and stuff afterwards. Were they out there looking for attention? Because you could be like, yeah, books are flying off the shelves, and look at all these cuts, and the banging on the walls, and okay, cool. Now we've got a story, and now everybody's looking at them, and they're just narcissistic and love it. But there's so many, like we said, there's so many lines.
You're right. It may just depend on the individual case because some people like that attention. Some people do. And they want to do the interviews and they want people to show the house and they want to be known as, oh, well, I stay in the Amityville house. Whereas other people may not.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, either way, and I hope this doesn't make me sound like a hypocrite, some of those movies were damn entertaining. The Conjuring was good. Conjuring 2 was good. I happen to be a big fan of Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. I like them both. Patrick Wilson was, recently he was amazing in The Tall Grass. I love his work, and I love Vera Farmiga. She really kind of came to my attention in Orphan. But I love what she does, and of course she was fantastic on Bates Hotel.
Yeah,
it's Bates Hotel. I don't know why I was thinking motel. I don't know why that word.
Are you sure it's not motel?
No, it's Bates Hotel. But I do enjoy the film.
Are you talking about the show?
Yeah, Bates Hotel.
Bates Hotel?
No, it's Bates Motel. I promise.
Are you sure? Holy fuck, it is Bates Motel.
Bates Motel? Yeah, it's Bates Motel.
I was like, dude, I watched the whole thing.
Oh,
now you got me fucking Mandela effect.
No. I shouldn't be. I need to stop second guessing myself because I was right the first time.
I was like, no, I think you're right, but you never know. The fucking universe is falling apart atom by atom.
The Mandela effect. But several of them were good. There are some good ones, and they're really, really enjoyable. I thought the first Annabelle was effectively creepy. The sequels are not, kind of unnecessary. I don't know who the fuck would like a doll that looks like that. It's out of my fucking, I was like, what the fuck ever.
Okay, what were the spoof movies that they did on the Warren movies? And it was, I think it was Paranormal Activity, Annabelle.
No, but Annabelle's a part of the Conjuring universe.
Annabelle's part of it. So movie did they do that?
No, there's a spoof movie.
And it talks about Annabelle. Was like, "What's up, homie?" Fucking, I can't remember. It was fucking hilarious though. But it was the Paranormal Activity movies, and then Annabelle was in that one. I think The Conjuring made an appearance. But yeah, those are funny. Anyways, sorry. Side rant. Nope, I thought Eugene was gonna come up with it.
I'm like picturing scenes in my head from it, and I cannot think of the name of it.
Don't fuck with me, homie. Anyways, the war movies. Yeah. So hey, let's ask the audience. What are your favorite Warren movies? Like you talking about jail. You got the Amityville Horror, the Haunted, Haunting Connecticut, Conjuring films. Annabelle was fucking creepy as hell. We just talked to somebody who was talking about having an Annabelle doll in the backseat of their car and forgot about it. Like looked at it.
I don't know how you forget about that.
Oh my god. Could you imagine like coming into a room and seeing an actual Annabelle doll? I'd be like, fuck, all right, so
don't even be fucking around. Don't even be fucking around. Exactly, yeah.
You're done.
Nope, I'm gonna shoot it. I'm just gonna shoot it.
Yeah, that doesn't really work out. But yeah, let us know in the comments or email us weekinhorror@gmail.com. The End the Rain Warren universe. They've got a couple more coming out soon, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I know The Nun is getting a sequel, despite the fact that The Nun wasn't that great. I know The Crooked Man is coming out.
That's right.
They're expanding the universe pretty solidly. Let's see. Yeah. Jessica G says The Conjuring. She loved both of them. Both of them were really good. I
still haven't seen 2.
I really like, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are so fantastic. They work very well together as the couple. And PhD Toast says, only watched The Conjuring. Definitely check it out. Conjuring 2 was solid. It really, really was. But let us know, yes, let us know in the comments below or weekinhorror@gmail.com. So Eugene, I think it's time for the trivia question.
Ooh, we get to give something away?
We are going to give something away.
Is it a t-shirt?
You make it sound like it's a bad thing.
I was just wondering. We hadn't talked about it yet.
Well, I was going to say a t-shirt, but then you said it. Now,
I was going to follow it up with "Can I play?" because I still haven't got a shirt.
Well, then fucking buy one. No, the movie's good. All the money's going to the same place.
I can't. I got to spend my money on a new fucking camera because I haven't been getting shit for that all day.
Oh, so what is it, Jessica? She says, I love all of the movies Tony shits on, but when he shits on a good movie, I just think back to how much I enjoyed King Schultz getting gunned down like a little bitch. Fucking. Oh, Jessica G is savage as fuck. Peachy Tony says, I don't have much patience for the idolization of the Warrens. I can see that. I really can. I think they're giving a little bit too much credit, just my personal opinion. But nonetheless, we do have a trivia question coming up. And damn, I'll tell you what. I was going to give away a t-shirt. Let's do a combination. Let's do a shirt and a coffee mug.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Let's do a limited edition number 2 shirt and a official Week in Horror coffee mug. Because those things apparently are amazing. Angela uses mine. She's pretty much the one that uses that one. She drinks more coffee than I do. But, yeah, we'll give away a shirt. A shirt and a coffee mug. I like this idea. Deal. So, absolutely. So, Eugene, take it away.
All right. The trivia question is, Stephen Jeffries played Hoax in 976 Evil, but he was better known as Evil Ed in what classic 1985 horror film? So, to say that again, Stephen Jeffries played Hoax in 976 Evil, but he was better known as Evil Ed in what 1985 horror film? And then put your answer in the chat below. First person who gets it in the chat wins the prize.
A t-shirt, limited edition number 2 t-shirt, and a Week in Horror coffee mug.
Oh, yes.
What do you got? First person in the live chat. First person to get it. I know PhD Tony fucking knows this shit. I know he does.
Oh!
Boom! Ivy Gentry.
Yes.
Ivy Gentry.
First guess. He'd have to have known it right off the bat.
Absolutely. Holy shit.
Yeah, the correct answer is Fright Night.
Fright Night. This is Fright Night. Evil Ed.
Yes.
So, okay, I gotta know, Tony, did you know it? Did you know it was Fright Night? Let me know. I gotta know. If Tony knew it and he just kind of held back.
I'm pretty sure he knew it.
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah. Tina Jones, yes, it was Fright Night, but congratulations, Ivy Gentry, for getting our trivia question correct.
That's
so
awesome.
hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Send us your shipping information, and we will get those sent out to you as quick as we can. Well done. Or you can hit us up on Discord. You can message me on Discord if you're a part of our Discord community. But definitely check that out. That's going to be sweet. Oh, Jinju says he looked at the wrong movie. PhD Tony says he did not know that.
Oh.
Oh, but Jessica G says Tony fucking knew it. He was too busy typing slow as shit as per usual. Click, 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 click. Oh, that's fucking sweet. You're very, very welcome. Absolutely, Ivy. Just go ahead and send us your shipping details. We will get those out to you, and I hope you love the mug as much as everyone else has. So, congratulations once again. And that will bring another episode of Week in Horror to a close. Thank you all so much for listening, and we truly hope that you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when we discuss The Baby, Feed, Cat People, and The Curse of El Charro.
If you put those all together, it could be one title: The Baby, Feed, Cat People,
The Curse of El Charro. Yes!
Oh, I'd watch that.
I'd totally watch that.
I didn't even, it's not even intentional. Oh man, we would like to send a special huge shout out to our incredible patrons who have helped us make the show the success that it has become. To Jeff Roberts, Dark Steve, Commander Darklight, Sarcasm, Crafty Keela, Anthony Purcell, Gavlar, The Hand of Zod, Mike Barrett, Jessica G, N.A., Kyrie, Alexis S, and Jose Alalde. We appreciate everything you've done to help us bring this show to life. We love you so much. We couldn't do it without you. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every single month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. We love them for helping us out with that. For more entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Followers get our daily splatter, a little bit of horror information right to your feed every single day. You never know what you may discover. We put lots of crazy films up there. We really hope you enjoyed this new live format, and we'd love to get your feedback. So subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a fucking zombie head, just like Tom Savini wants you to, for all the latest from the show. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and you would like to and are able to support our production, you can through our PayPal and our Patreon. We have patron tiers as low as $1 a month, less than a cup of coffee a month, and bonus and exclusive content for our higher tiers, like horror films every single month that will ship directly to you. Links to all of this, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, and even interact with us directly, and watch movies with us that we will stream there in the theater, are all going to be below. We are streaming the new Wrong Turn tonight. Wrong Turn, the new one, will be in the theater after the show, so we hope to see you there. And we know that these are trying times. You know, things are only starting to get back to normal, and things are extremely tight. As always, simply liking and sharing this show to your local horror community or the friends that you know that love horror will be the best way to help us continue to grow. We appreciate each and every one of you for your continued listenership. We couldn't do it without your support. I am JL.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Eugene.
And we will see you all next week. And as always, stay scared.